Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to one of my favorite films and us hanging out and having a good time.
You are not in a bunny suit.
I am in the Pink Nightmare,
God.
my friend.
Oh my God.
Yes, the boys did not know this was happening. Yes, tonight, the Pink Nightmare. Hashtag thank you, children. This kudos to my daughter-in-law and my son for one of the most shocking gifts I've ever received. I actually have. I wish I had thought to figure out a way to move it because I don't have the box. So I have a small lamp which is portable, and it came with like a wooden lid that was painted to look exactly like the original one. So I don't have a giant one. I used to have an inflatable one, but so I should have brought that. But you know what? I did Pink Nightmare for you guys, and here we are. Let's talk hard, bro.
It even says A Christmas Story on it.
It does. It does. I am full on. There we go. Let's see. Scott is here in the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got
Christmas Story.
Little People. The kids got that for me last year because I love. I mean, A Christmas Story. No one in my family likes. Like, my kids don't like it. My wife, I think, poisoned them to it because she hated it because every Christmas Eve I watch it multiple times. But yeah, I'm so excited that this is the one
we
I
are
picked.
so happy to have you with us, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, talking hard on a Tuesday. Yes, A Christmas Story, 40 years, and that cuts me deep to say. So I thought I'd try to have on an OG fan like Scott here. LOKI, IRONCASTER, it's gonna be a blast. So thanks for being here, everybody. First, let me go to you, IRONCASTER. How has your week been? What's going on, my friend?
The week has been busy. I went out with the family to hang out with my stepdad, who's absolutely obsessed with this movie. Like, he will have this thing on marathon. He watches it over and over and over. Yeah. I had to buy it from one year. Just I'm like, look, this way you can kind of get your fix in any time of year now.
That's good. LOKI, my brother, what's going on?
Oh man, just I enjoyed this good movie, and we are definitely in the holiday spirit. And Ralphie, but I didn't say fudge. I'm ready to go. I am ready to go.
And yes, full on for those of you at home. Yes,
That's gorgeous.
So yeah, this is
that's a big
Scott.
It's
It's
right there.
Yeah, Scott, we're OGs. We probably know of this when this came out. LOKI, you wouldn't have been far behind us because this would have started to get its legs about the time you were really getting into movies and stuff like that. But this was a complete flop when it came out.
Yep.
And I remember even into high school, actually even in early college, most people hadn't seen it. And then those who had were kind of thought you were kind of odd that you loved it so much. Like, it didn't have the legs like it does now. It was weird seeing this go into marathon. Like, I have to be honest, that was a weird thing for me that first time that TBS, movie channel stuff happened. They would do that 20. That was weird. I was like, that was kind of like my movie. That was like a weird one that no one else was really that obsessed with. And yeah.
See, that's weird for me because we watched it. My family watched it. My best friends, they grew up watching it. I remember I practically grew up at my friend Chris's house. His dad would sit there and he'd be sitting there holding his beer, just, the muffler sounds, and he'd do that. He'd be like, and be singing along with it. So it's really weird for me to hear that.
Yeah.
Because even at, I'll be 45 next year. Even at that, I can't remember anyone ever talking bad about this movie over the last 45 years.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever talked bad about, because even some of the critics liked the movie. I think it was just a lot of folks. It's like an acquired taste. It's a very meh thing for certain people. And again, I think this is a nice litmus test for the bah humbug riches among us, right, Scott? It's sort of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit older not much older than LOKI either. I'm 47. I'll be 48 in January. So, but I didn't see it in the movie theaters. I know I didn't do that. I remember it was either VHS when it first came out, because I wasn't very old when I first saw it. I was under 12, maybe even under 10. And I fell in love with it right away. I wanted to be Ralphie. I thought that world was amazing. I thought that time was amazing. The father kind of reminded me of my dad in a way, it was the Christmas movie for me for as long as I really can remember. I just know I didn't see it in the movie theaters, but I can't remember Christmas without it, you know? So
Right.
I'm wondering when it actually first came out on VHS, because I know I got it pretty quick. Like, it was one of those gifts that someone gave me and didn't think, like, it was like a last minute thing, and I fell
Sure.
in love with it, you know?
Ironcaster, you're kind of still in like that North Midwest area of the country where some of those like little small town street displays will still happen. You start to get that sort of like more of that OG Santa meeting type spectacle stuff still happens. You know, we don't have in Florida. It's definitely not a thing down here. What is it like for you to see this film and to revisit it? Maybe even some of those real life experiences.
I mean, so much of this movie just does kind of beckon back to little truisms of sort of growing up in the Midwest. I mean, going to the store and seeing Santa at like the mall or whatever just rings true. Being wrapped all up with all kinds of protective, like
Yes, layers.
Layers for the cold, down to the point of having the like elastic bands on my on my jacket just to keep my gloves. Like, I remember growing up with that. So every time I see it, I think back to that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's welcome in this amazing chat. And first off, it's so great to be able to, if I haven't, Lester, welcome again. Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank, a great channel, a guy who really just pours his heart and soul out for the world. And I'm so impressed with what he does. And so great to call him a friend and be able to be a member here. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. And then Pat, of course, one of the guys behind the scenes here, helping kind of keep things close, welcoming him in and hanging out with us. Thank you so much. And yeah, please share out, like, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much. Penny was here, stopped in. She's headed off to church. She's got stuff going on, but she will definitely be back. I know that. She's great. So I think so. Does anybody know what time that Christmas Story comes on TBS this year? I don't know. I don't have cable, so I don't know. But it will be there, I'm sure.
I think it's usually about 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock. It starts on Christmas Eve and then goes Christmas Day. Until
like a 24,
yeah. Usually that's what they did.
The triumvirate of Talking Hard. Hail to the special guest host, Spork. Yes, thank you, Chris. The goat himself, the mod of mods. Thank you, Chris, for all you do here. Appreciate you so much. Fun fact, when Ironcaster was a zygote, Loki was a wee lad and Pops was in the last year of college. This movie was on 24 hours during Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. I didn't know it was that. Is it in the early 90s? This was already playing 24 hours a day? I thought it was later than that.
Apparently, the first 24-hour marathon started in 1988, so it actually.
Oh my gosh! No, I definitely did not know that. No, did not know that. Obviously, it would have been on VHS by then. It would have been on VHS for Chris and Loki to see it. I would never have guessed 24 hours a day that early.
Now, did you see it in the theaters or did you see it?
Yeah, my grandma took us to the dollar. Would have been the dollar theater. So this would have been not in like the opening weekend sort of category. This would have been more like with the family. So it would have been when it landed at the dollar theater. I remember seeing it and like you guys loved it. Very nostalgia feeling, right? Because I grew up in, I was Indiana when I would have been in Ralphie's age bracket. So with those other kids, like you said, Ironcaster, the bundling up, the bullies, the shenanigans of the triple dog dare, the ridiculous gifts from the aunt. Yes, this was, that type of stuff was very real to me being a little kid. And then the idea of looking in those windows pre-Star Wars catalog, because there's other stuff beyond the Star Wars catalog. That was how you'd shop for. I want one of those. Getting like a wagon. I think I remember being like 5 or 6 and got the one of the big wagons. It was like it's a big deal to do it in a store. So yeah,
the 24-hour thing killed this movie for my dad. I think it was maybe I was a teenager. I think I was either I was a teenager or I was close to it when you're flipping through on Christmas Day. And you'd hit that movie and he goes, no, absolutely not. I can't do this again. I can't do it. I've already seen it once this year. I can't, not again.
Oh,
not again.
We have an over under on this movie, Christmas Vacation and Elf. And there's a couple others like the kids really like that. They kind of moved them into that same category, but usually those are it's a plus or minus 3 watches.
Yeah.
So that's the general rule of thumb.
It's funny. My wife told me after last Christmas that she never saw Christmas Vacation. So we are planning on watching it, I think, next week. I'm going to introduce her to the Griswolds. Message
me her reaction. And I don't know if you watch movies with subtitles on or not, but man, the dialogue is so rich in that movie, just like this one. You pick up on so much stuff. So
Yeah,
much.
I that's another movie I can
Yes.
commonly I quote. I quote it a lot.
Oh,
So.
absolutely. I mean,
Children's Bowl.
that one for me, I mean, forever was, I mean, there was a mall. So again, I've told the story before, worked at the mall, worked at the theater at the mall, whatever. And they had this display where they had him hanging upside down. Clark was covered in all those Christmas lights as like a mannequin upside down in one of those big windows. So Zax is here from the Great White North. Zax, hail to you, my brother. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Did you bring your Red Ryder BB gun? Yeah, we should have them out there. So, and Souls has some rocking the pink bunny costume. Yes, indeed. Indeed, my friend.
I love that you
24
see the
hour
same people in the
streams,
same
TNT.
chats.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, lovely Sherry is here. Hey, great to have you. Matt is here. Yeah, you're the pink nightmare. Yes, I am a pink nightmare today. Today only. Yes, limited time only. Indeed. I fear you guys were grabbing screenshots, so I look forward. Oh, wait a minute. We have Loki. It has happened. It has happened indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
One of the boys is in the house. Thank you, Zach, for hanging out, my friend. You are among kindred spirits. Yes, I am a demented Easter bunny. You would know, my friend. You would know. In New Orleans, my winter coat is a North Face fleece. Cool. Yeah. Yes, lots of love for Zach. Yeah, Bobby's here. Hey, Bobby. Every year I still ask for a Red Ryder BB. You don't have one, Bobby? Maybe we need to hook you up with that. So, yes.
Yeah, I don't have one yet either. I got to buy one.
AC from Japan. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Man, he did a private thing because it's not really the theme of his channel, but he did like a private. He did a live stream from the Japan's Tokyo Con. It was so cool to watch. That from across the pond, what difference it is. So, and that live action Grinch is pretty sick with it. Yeah. All right. Phil. Oh man, Phil is here. Hey there. And yeah, loving the. Yeah, man, you gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. So Ruben as well, loving the Christmas Story, love for Christmas Vacation, and It's a Wonderful. Yeah, Wonderful Life is like the GOAT because it's actually like good film. Like it's actually like we could put it among great films of all time, not just Christmas. So
Amen to that. Die Hard too. Everyone, I'm a believer that Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Well, that will be next week. Thank you, Scott, for setting that up. So yes, next week will be Die Hard, as we will be here with. Mim, yes, Mexican Iron Man will close out our talk hard next week with, so there he is, Ralphie the Dreamer, and this film is hopefully will bring to light some of the things that you guys will enjoy and can talk about. Let me hide this graphic so Loki can't hide totally from everybody.
I'm hiding in the back.
There he is. So Ralphie the Dreamer. Scott, you mentioned seeing yourself as Ralphie or wanting to be like Ralphie and that kind of. Talk a little bit about young Scott and were you asking for like the BB gun and some of those kinds of things?
The BB gun. I was the kid that mom never let have a BB gun, so I played with like wooden sticks. When I was doing like war and stuff like that because we
had to make your own swords.
Yeah,
did you have to make your own sword?
Yeah. All that, like anything that was considered like violent. It wasn't. I think later on I realized she just didn't want to spend the money on that stuff, so it wasn't really like she was against it. It was just like, I'm not buying you the toy guns because they break and this and that. But anyways, I always wanted a BB gun after watching this. I mean, I think every boy back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, early 90s wanted a BB gun. So they actually did buy me a BB gun probably for my 11th or 12th birthday. It was like a pump action. It looked like a Desert Eagle. I love that. I wish I still had it. But it was just like the way Ralphie, I don't know, like I always dreamt, I always thought of things like, that were like not your usual way of like imagining things, like how he has his teacher become the witch or his mom, like that type of stuff. And I just love how the friends would like beat up on each other, talk junk to each other. A family that always has like the one kid who's like super protected compared to the other kids. And definitely like when I was a kid, that was a funny thing because parents would let you just go out, and come back when the lights come on type thing. But something about it, I mean, it might be Shepard's, like his narrating, the narrating of it.
Yeah, we'll get
just
to that.
That voice just brings you to a different world and it just sucks you in and you just want to live that life, even though it's like crazy and the father's angry, He gets in trouble. He has to eat soap, all this, nutty stuff. But it makes you realize like your childhood was never perfect, but it was yours. And if hopefully it was a good one, and for me, it was for the most part. And I love, this kind of brings me back.
So Loki, does this ring a little too true? Having a little soap in the mouth and a little daydreaming about teachers being witches?
Mm-hmm. I did have some toy stuff. I didn't get to have like a BB gun and stuff, but making your own swords and making your own guns out of sticks. I think the closest thing I had to like a gun weapon was one of those that popped a little cork out that had like a string attached to it. Yep. It was like a pump action air. That's all I had. Now I had tons of GI Joes and stuff, but I didn't have anything like that. You had to make that. So getting a BB gun, that was a big thing, especially with how old he is. And the whole shoot your eye out thing, that's exactly what I would have expected. If I would have ran outside, been like, yeah, ping, 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 and then boom, you shoot your eye. Oh my God, I did shoot my eye out. So
or I would have shot my brother's eye out. One of the two would have been the accusation for sure.
I think every guy in on this stream and every guy that's out there in chat has been Ralphie at some point in his life.
Amen.
They've gotten their mouth stoked out. I certainly hear it. And I got the Irish Spring. I didn't get soap
Irish Spring
or any of that. I got the Irish Spring.
That's some wussy soap. You got to have some lava or something OG. Like, you want to talk about getting stuff out of your system quick, go old school lava, man. That stuff was like, it wouldn't come out of your mouth, man. That stuff stuck with you for it was rough. Ironcaster, what about you, my friend? Are you is there an IC photo running around with some soap or with his BB gun?
I'll be honest, I was never quite the connoisseur of soap like young Ralphie or Loki were in my day. I did, however, have the BB gun.
All right.
I got to be the lucky one to have that.
Yeah, we had the cap guns, like the Lone Ranger cap guns, right? And then we had little yellow like air pellet ones, like, so that was, I don't know, they were just pump action, whatever. But I gotta be honest, guys, we would shoot those at each other in the stores. We were terrible children. My gosh, they'd be like at Kmart and stuff. We'd be shooting them all over the store. It's like, I don't understand how our parents didn't just kill us. So
I still have a friend who retired as a detective, who had a mark right here from when we used to do BB gun wars, and it was always like, you don't shoot in the face, and it's only one pump. But he got hit in the chin, and he had that scar for the rest of his life.
Wow,
it's just, that's how we were,
All right, so I know we talked about Loki's take on this, Bobby. Have we watched either of the two sequels? Okay, I have watched both sequels. Only the second one, the new one, the one that Peter Billingsley is in and attached to and all of that, is worth your time, in my opinion. I don't know that we can emotionally, like, we haven't even rewatched it in the house again, because I don't know that my mother-in-law can handle going through the theme of the second film, the new film. So, anyone else watched the other films?
Yeah,
I watched the old sequel, which isn't really a sequel but kind of a sequel. I watched up until he got home and he walked in the house and he sees his dad everywhere, and I couldn't deal with it. I was like, no, because that was my dad. Yeah. The entire down on the furnace and bus bucket, when my dad was a very cool customer, a lot like Ralphie's dad. But when he got angry, he got angry, and you heard it. He'd be just fine. He'd be like, "Listen, do," and he would drop like a hamburger he just made, and it was, and you'd be like, "That's a totally different dude," and that's Ralphie's dad.
Yeah.
And as much as he cared about Ralphie, he doesn't really see his dad like that until you see that thing where his dad's like, "Oh, look what I got him," and his mom's like, you did what? And he's like, no, just Joe. It's all right. He's getting older. He deserves it. It's okay. That was my dad, man. So seeing that, I couldn't watch it after that. But I
Ralphie
watched it
is
up
so
to that
much like his dad, right? I mean, the whole point of this is like these layers of coming of age in so many different ways, right? And part of it is the profanity scene, right? The reason the profanity scene matters is because that's the first time, he drops an F-bomb. And of course, dad is, we get the censored version of what dad's saying to the furnace, right? We get the censored version of dad's explosions, right? But Ralphie, like little by little, this movie is like, the way Ralphie reaches for the lamp, and just each one of these layers is Ralphie coming of age.
Yep.
It culminates with the gun, like you said later on in the movie. Just great stuff.
Yeah.
Ruben has also pointed out Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and Lovely Sherry agrees. Yes, but I hope you guys are here next week as we discuss it even further. So.
Yeah, I do have to say that the movie with Billingsley, I really appreciated. I thought it was better than I assumed it was going to be.
Agreed.
It wasn't, iconic.
Just a different feel.
Yeah, yeah. I try to be all right, let me try to have that adult, idea of what he's going through type thing, and it didn't have that same connection as you did as a kid. What year does the original one take place in? Is it 40s, right?
Yeah, it would be the 40s. I was going to say post-war 40s, but I'm not exactly sure what we have as a date. Shepard would do these short stories and these reads and things like that, so I'm not exactly sure how he did, because there actually are other programs that have existed that he would read and stuff like that, and that's how this was found, and the script was developed and that kind of thing. So the Parkers have existed in that sort of world for a while, and I will say I did also enjoy the Christmas Story Christmas for that same reason. It felt like I was in the right world. It felt like I was in the right progression of Ralphie's life. He's still a dreamer, and it wasn't mocked really. It just hasn't worked out the way he thought it would work out, and then it kind of grows and goes in a direction that I felt would be okay. So, Pat S. is giving some love for A Christmas Carol, the 1951 version. Okay, well, interesting. I would have to agree to disagree there, Pat, but it's okay. We will have we will have to have a Christmas Carol conversation with maybe the top 5 of versions of that adaptation, because it's really tricky about those. So,
yeah, I love those movies. I watch all of them. My wife bought me the one with who played Scott. It's the name Scott's in it. Famous actor played Patton.
Georgie Scott.
Is it okay? George.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember his first name. Yeah, I like his version, but 50. I get the 51 and the 41 and whatever they are. I get them confused, but I love them all.
But I love the Scrooge version. I'm going to do a video on that one before Christmas. I love the Muppets one. Muppet one just had its anniversary over 31 years. So, Penny stopping in on one of her breaks. So, a sharpened stick is kind of dangerous in the wrong or right hands. Agreed. They were also our lightsabers, Pat. Yes,
they were.
They were our lightsabers.
Wizard staffs.
Soap looks delicious. Is that cherry flavor? Those were not cherry flavor. So, yes.
Yeah, that was the bad.
Cannoli is here. Yes. Thank you, brother.
Just real quick on sort of the subject of all the sequels, I will say that I've never gone out of my way to go check those out, because at the end of the day, I don't have a major love and affection for A Christmas Story. I like the movie. I enjoy and appreciate it, but I don't know if it's just the fact that it's been so sort of over commercialized has kind of taken away from that love for me.
No, I totally. That's why I wanted your opinion on it too, because I wondered if that was your take. I actually am shocked that if my kids, I'm shocked at where I would love to know where my kids feel about this movie, because they've been subject to it their whole lives, and now the commercial has exploded, and I feel kind of the same way. When we talked about Nightmare Before Christmas last week, it was not as huge of a thing, and now it's you can't go in any of these stores without that stuff being everywhere.
You can't even get out of the parking lot without seeing Nightmare Before Christmas on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Or on on the back of a fat lady's leg tattooed.
True. The thing is you have to
leg lamp tattoo on a fat lady's leg.
It stretches out. What you have to do is you have to make it
Jack's
special.
face looks scarier.
Yeah, right. You have to make it special. I realized it is Nightmare Before Christmas. My oldest daughter loved it from when she was real little. So we try not to overdo it so that it will still have that family. Okay, I watched this with my family when I was a kid at Christmas. not, we watched it all the time, every time, in summer and this and that. And that's the same thing with the Christmas Story. I used to like the 24-hour thing because when you were in college or something, you caught a little bit before you went out on Christmas Eve or something. And then you caught, the end of it when you got home. But I like to make it like a special thing where I watch it once and that's it, because I don't want it to become something that I hate. Same with like Scrooge.
Okay.
And
Nurpoilo is here talking about me putting out eyes with this outfit. Totally get you. And Squeaka popped in talking about needing an. You are no witch, Squeaka. You are a princess. Please. Me and Pops. Yeah, we're doing a stream right after this. So yeah, we will be talking about another great project, the Charlie Brown Christmas. So yeah,
good one.
Yes. So soap punishment. Yeah, Belt. Oh yeah. Belt was a different family member. But yeah, I definitely got Grandma. Definitely had the O fudge factor would definitely be lava. Yellow dial soap is rough. Yeah, I had a little bit of the dial soap, but not as much as the red lava soap. The red lava soap was in the house when my grandfather worked on like appliances and stuff. So the red lava soap was in Grandma's house. Yeah, my mom Irish, so yeah, okay. Let's see. I think I got caught up pretty much. So. Let's since you're on that shot or about Randy, because Randy's one of those fun stories of like this memorable thing, and I don't know if you guys know that I'm such a nerd about Christmas Story. I interviewed the guy who did the Christmas. He bought and renovated the Christmas Story house, and it was like a place you could go. It's a museum, a tourist attraction. And Randy lived there for a while. Like, so he would be there. He would take you around, talk about some different things. There was photo ops and when he would get underneath the sink as an adult, like Ian would get in there. And he talked about how, they put this foam in his arms. They sewed this in there so his arms wouldn't go down. They'd pop up like that. So yeah, fascinating stuff indeed. Loki, did you ever live in a cold enough environment to have to do the Randy bundle?
Nope. I spent a couple weeks in Idaho during Christmas, and that's the only time I ever had to do that. But no, I mean, Texas, man, come on. Never got that bad.
Well, I just didn't know if you had, been, cause I lived in Indiana when I was a child, so I remember a little bit of that. But yeah, that was the only time, just a little bit, not like what poor Ironcaster's grown up in, basically. So.
No.
Loki, I got to ask, since you spent a winter up in the north, did you ever stick your tongue to a light pole?
Nope. Nope. I'd seen this movie by then and knew better. So I think every kid knows better. Don't do it on a train track. Don't do it on a pole. No.
That actually gave me,
you don't want to be out there.
Man. That gave me nightmares. That idea of sticking your tongue and it freezing. That I can't stand that. Ugh.
Yeah, I've done it. Have you done that? Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
I stuck my tongue to the stop sign at the bus stop when the bus was pulling up.
He wins, guys. Great. I don't know what to tell you. I knew a kid, and we had to be first grade because it wouldn't have been in kindergarten. So we were in first grade probably, and he fell, and his mouth hit something and stuck on something, and that was my first like, holy cow, that is like a serious thing. Like he had to have bandages and stuff. It was bad, right? So I was aware of this concept, like this could happen. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew how they made this. Anybody looked up how they make this scene? Because this is really, really, I didn't think they would do it because it's such a low budget film, but they made the pipe's actually plastic and there's a hole where he puts his tongue,
right? And
there's like a vacuum tube. That's where it goes. So Scott Schwartz is the actor. He's talked about it regularly. So, but I love that. I love that shot for sure.
He was such a big deal. Like, I don't know if it was right after this movie. Like
right before had that,
the
toy.
Kids Inc. and toy. Yeah, the toy and stuff.
He thought he was going to be Ralphie. He didn't know because the kids all auditioned for all of the parts, right? So it was just like, and they were told, you can go now, which is not a good sign. And so it's all this back and forth. And, he's been pretty open about the back and forth of, here he is with all these different things. And next thing you know, this is the film that immortalizes his life.
Yeah. Right.
Connie, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's really cool. Let us know if you've ever gone to the Christmas Story house. I've never gone. I wanted to go. So cool. I think it sold again. So.
Oh, did yeah, really? I thought it was staying as a. I thought they were.
I think it's a new proprietor though. So I don't think they're gonna because they had to renovate it. They had to retro renovate it back to the 1940s because it actually had like, you know, fancy vinyl siding and all. They had to redo everything, and they took all these donations and people. I think the guy who made the kitchen set, like custom made, it's like it was custom made for them. Like the guy did it. So yeah.
I mean, that sink was dope.
Oh my gosh, Pat S. This is my wife's. Like I just got her the DVD for this like 2 or 3 years ago. She watches this every. Like
I own it.
She's like, yeah. So she asked for where is Emmett Otters? How do we not own that? So
we're not birds. We're a jug band. I love that movie.
Lovely Sherry, punished as a kid. Well, why would you need to be? Why would you need to be? So, yes.
I doubt that.
Let's see. The most memorable part of the movie is the fra-ra-ra. Well, okay. The frozen pole. We're on the frozen pole. Ironcaster, did they have to bring water out? How did they get your? What did they do? Just pull you free?
I had to pull myself free.
Ooh, man.
Man, oh man.
So here I am. Like I've got pain. I've got to get on the bus. I've got to go to school.
Oh, man. Classic.
So I'm like, I now have to try to eat lunch. My tongue is still raw. And I'm like, the ketchup is like burning my tongue from the acid.
Wow. So that's how I know there are people who did it, and that was like warm water to the tongue was how that would get. Yeah.
I love how they have like all these, you know, the fire department, the police, everybody comes out, and yet they just rip the kid. Like it's classic.
Yeah. And I think it represents that overreaction to that time, right? Because things would just, you know, that's how everything would. Because in a town like that, and I live in that kind of town now where we live in the woods, it's like there's not that much going on. So when something like that happens, everyone just shows up, right? It's like it's not like, you know, the big city. So
right. Yeah,
ketchup on pizza is Phil's thing. So yeah, Phil, Ironcaster may be vicariously a great victim for you there, my friend. Yeah. Loki, is there another scene that sort of jumps out at you? Like this is the scene that just like I think about this movie. There's two because this movie has we can never do this movie justice, right, guys? I mean, there's like we could talk about this movie for 4 to 6 hours. I mean, there's just so many layers to this film. So I'll throw it to you, Loki, to pick and choose another like tentpole moment, if you will, for this film.
The fight with Schwartz. That'd be my number one call. The fight with Schwartz, because that was me. That was me at in 6th grade. I had gotten my tail kicked for being the shortest, fattest kid in the school.
Well, you mean the fight with this guy, right?
Yeah, Schwartz.
Oh, this is
Schwartz.
This is Scott
Fargus. Fargus. Sorry, I'm thinking when he blamed Schwartz for saying the F-bomb.
Yeah, this is the Scott Fargus affair.
Scott Fargus. When he gets in the fight with Fargus, it's legendary. And if you've ever been a kid that got picked on for years by someone, chased around, whatever, then you know exactly how Ralphie lost it when he's just hitting them, screw scum bucket, and they're like, their kids are like, do you hear what he's saying?
Yeah.
No, I was right there. I mean, I really didn't hit being tall until 7th grade, and I started playing football. That changed everything. Up until then, who wants to get picked on? Who wants to get chased around? And the little toady thing, I knew a kid just like him.
There was always
and I remember him getting smacked once, and that was it. He shut his little mouth. And it's all fun and games until the little toady gets smacked in the mouth. Yep. And then it's not so little. It's not so funny anymore.
So Zack Ward on the right plays Scott Farkus, who you may also know from the auto show Farkus.
Well, there was
Titus.
Also,
Titus, right?
Yeah.
And Yano plays the toady. So again, this is the genius of Bob Clark, the director, because he kept these 2 kids separate from the other 2 kids, so that they would create some tension and things like that. So because with the kid actors and things like that. I got to be honest, I couldn't agree more, Loki. All of this felt so real that I didn't think about it obviously when I was younger watching this movie, but as I got older, I was like, oh yeah, I really, really related to this, and probably shouldn't have, but yeah, I obviously did.
Yep. I have to say, I like what they did with his character for the sequel.
Yes.
Showing that like that moment might have helped change him, and made him realize, because you know, as a kid, he's the bully, he's the mean kid. But when I got older, I'm like, oh man, he's probably from a broken family. His dad probably beats him, like all these things going through your head, But I love how they censor themselves, because the frickin' fruit, like it literally is supposed to be just a barrage of swear words. But yet, like you can now, like as a kid, it was just frickin' fruit. And you kind of knew what they were saying without them having to like bleep it, which was brilliant. And you could do that today and people know what you mean, because it's like such a part of like, I don't know, like the pop culture, the dad just being
Agreed.
like, the bumpuses, and stuff like that. This movie, I think, is like you were touching on it. There's so many layers to it. Relationship between father and son, mother and son, brothers, how his brother goes and gets his glasses for him and stuff. Like it's a really great movie for that we could seriously break it down.
Yeah, and post the cursing scene, right? The brother's in the cabinet, like he's, Dad's gonna kill Ralphie. Like that's kind of, I would not have expected that from like modern kids and things like that. So. Dean, hey brother, hope you're doing well. Never put my tongue on a pole, but we had the metal ice trays and I sampled that way. Oh yeah, that's true. You know what? I probably had that happen multiple times. Yeah, but that didn't tend to be a rip it off as bad as like a pole would be. Not sure exactly what the science is there with the water melting, but I assume that's why. So Dwayne is here. Hey, Weather, hope you're doing okay. And I remember being the bully being the Resident Evil movie. Friend saying looks like the Christmas Story bully joined. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's true. It's true. What about you, Ironcaster? Is there another tentpole moment we should kind of jump to, or let me make sure we highlight before we kind of drive all over the map with this one?
Well, I think one of the things I really like, and yeah, like you guys kind of touched on, sort of the way this is kind of pictured through the lens of a child. Like, yeah, we're looking back on it as sort of the way that the narrator remembered it as a kid. Everything seems so big, so grand, and that's all great. But probably the thing that kind of really jumped out at me when I was watching through it yesterday was the destruction of the leg lamp. This is kind of
brilliant.
Yeah, and yeah, I kind of pointed this out in our little private chat there, like the way the dad is just breaking down over the destructionist thing. Like, I had Gollum coming to mind.
Yeah, you did. You did. It is.
You're
it's
right.
kind of one of those, well, because I think on so many levels, people who don't think about movies or really they're just generic consumers of things like this. Like maybe they're a sports person, so movies are just mindless, whatever. But once you get what the award represents, right? The fact that she's also like, you're doing your stupid puzzles again, you know what I mean? It's like, then he wins something, and it's like he thinks he's going to get something of intrinsic value as the world would assess it, and he said he gets this lamp, and he calls it the major award. Like it's
an award. It's an award.
Major award.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something he wants to put in the front window to show off to the entire like neighborhood.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I want something like this validation for like being smart enough to be the one to figure this out. None of you guys did this all, but no, look at me. Look at the lamp. I won this major award.
I like how he's soaking it in too from outside, and like the neighbor asking, he's almost like disgusted that the guy's even asking him. Like, it's a major award. Like, you can't tell this leg lamp is a major award. And then the mother turns it off. It's just a little back and forth between the mom and the dad. Like, I think every family had something that one of the parents liked that the other, and they, the little games they play to get rid of it. It's fantastic.
Oh, especially during like the 60s and 70s. I mean, the gaudy trends and fads and furniture. And all right, come on, Loki. Surely there's at least a lava lamp story in your past, right? There has to be.
I have a sweater. I have a lava lamp sweater. Yes, I do. And guess what? It lights up. There's a little button,
That's the best.
and that some bitch lights up, and you've got a light up leg lamp on your sweater for Christmas.
That's awesome.
Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love the leg lamp? His wife does not love the leg lamp. Why? Because it's in her living room and everyone can see it.
Yep.
If he would have hidden it if you'd have put it off in a corner or something and it wasn't in the front window, she wouldn't care. But obviously she's like, the whole block's going to see this leg lamp, and it's a leg, and it's got thigh highs on the leg.
Cheeks.
Yeah,
It's got a cheek.
Yeah, I got a cheek.
The soft glow of electric sex.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
was
It is
soft
just
glow.
truly tremendous. They
You know,
love to
and
tell
then
the story. So if you listen to interviews with the kids that are obviously Peter Billingsley and Scott Schwartz and etc., how these shots are like nothing is set where you think it is. Like people think it's all filmed in Ohio, and it wasn't. It's supposed to take place in Indianapolis. It was filmed in Ohio, but most of the interior scenes, like the house interiors, when they're looking out, things like that, those are shot in Canada. So the kids are all remembering this as like, well, this is in Ohio, and this is in Canada, this is in Ohio. It's fun listening to them recount a movie like this, because it seems to me it feels so much more dynamic than what the end result looks like. A very simple film, and in fact, it sounds like it's a very complicated thing. Just again, lightning in a bottle, right? They didn't have money for the parade scene, right? That would have cost a fortune, and the amount of a cost it would have been for automobiles. So instead, they got the city to leave the decorations up from the previous year, and they reached out to like auto clubs, like car clubs, and they came and showed up with all the cars and things like that. So just great stuff
It was
like
4
this.
mil, right? I think it was only about 4 mil,
Yes,
4.5 million.
Yeah, it's very, very. Let's see, I'll double check. Yeah, 3.3 million. And it's 6 act. It made money at the theater. So I say bomb or flop, meaning in relative to where we are today. This feels like this would have been this $1 billion type because of the marketing and the fan base and instead this was sort of like, yeah, everybody saw it. We all liked it. It's like, all right, whatever.
There was one other thing that I really got a kick out of watching with the parade here, and it's they're all going along, and it's all the Wizard of Oz, and they're all celebrating because like, hey, it's the Wizard of Oz, it's super popular because it was like still a fairly fresh movie, and then here comes Mickey Mouse, and then all the monkeys beat the snot out of Mickey.
Yeah.
They're attacking him. Yeah.
Yep.
This felt okay. So I don't know if you guys are any of you old enough to have seen a parade like this, because this was this was a huge on the nose for me of like that street because people are used to like the commonality of like hot air balloons now, and the massive scale of parades now would have been unheard of back then. This is what you would see. You'd see horse-drawn carriages, marching bands, people in really bad adapted costumes, things like that. And even like post Star Wars, you'd have, this is the kind of stuff that you would see. And then Santa, of course. This was like my childhood. Yeah.
We still have in the town we moved to, and that's one of the reasons like we like this town is that they have this year. They only have 2 dates a year that the state troopers will shut down this part of the road for us to do it. So this year it kind of got shot out because of rain, but it's a Christmas and it's a Christmas parade. And it's at night and it's so much fun. The kids get to go out at night and have hot chocolate and you're sitting bundled up and people are throwing candy. This is what we need more of.
I agree.
Yep.
I was going to say about.
I've got to go.
Okay.
I've got to walk in those parades. This was during a year when I was working at Bob's Big Boy.
Okay.
So here I am in the parade. I'm Big Boy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
I'm going
Is
down.
there photos of this? You have photo evidence of this for you and your posterity's sakes?
I've got pictures of it somewhere. I just don't know where this is at. That's
the kind of thing you need to find the photos of so you can make sure you protect that posterity, because that's something that can get away from you. Like there's certain things I'm sure Scott and Loki and I can all talk about. Like there's things that you have that you don't, there was a photo. Yeah. But you don't know where that photo is. So figure out a way to like have like a special chest of these kinds of things, because that is a super cool memory, man. Yeah.
I mean,
I assume there's no picture of you with your tongue stuck to a freaking stop sign, so I'll take the Big Boy instead. So
this was something I had done for years at this point, and this was like every month they would have like a little character night. They would have Mickey come in. They would have Super Mario. They would have some Prince. They would have Santa come in, and Big Boy, because it's at Big Boys. Awesome. And so here I am, because I'm just like, this is basically an opportunity to be a cartoon character. Running around the restaurant. So I'll go sit down and kind of put an arm around people, and I'm just kind of being kind of larger than life with it. I'm moonwalking through the restaurant. I am going crazy with this. I am running out in front of the cars, acting like I'm pulling it. And I'm just going ham with it.
You have to go it. You got to be in character, you know?
I'm very proud. I'm a very proud internet dad right now.
Are you?
I am. I'm proud of my little IRONCASTER.
I got beat up by kids in there one time.
Well, yeah, you know, that's like, yeah.
That's a Bob Big boy for you, you know? Sometimes
it can go sideways. It can go sideways.
Things go sideways quick. You know, I try being in a parade in your own town when, you know, in the late 80s in like a Boy Scout uniform, you know, you get your friends that aren't in Boy Scouts totally love to harass you for the rest of the year because of that. But still great memories.
All right. This this stream has turned very therapeutic for sure. Yeah, the Vader or 3PO or things that people could do. Yeah, there would be all sorts of things that would try to include or piggyback off that Star Wars popularity. So, all right, Scott, what's another sort of like big moment we should try to jump to kind of Santa Claus? Yes, get into the mall.
That's one of the greatest moments in this movie because every kid. I think Ralphie's a little old, but I think it's part of the movie. But like his brother and under, like Santa Claus is frightening as hell, and mostly a mall Santa.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen a kid scream that like gets handed to Santa and they're screaming?
Most of them.
My kids had to take pictures next, me holding with them next to him. But what I loved about this was the just the majestic looking setup they had with the slide and all the snow, but by the time you get up there, they're terrifying. Just people who want to get out of work. It's fantastic.
Can you go back a little bit to get to the angry guy in line? Do they have a screenshot of that? Because that's important to if we get a shot of that.
I like the one. I like Santa.
Yeah, the kid, the wetter.
The wetter.
Yeah. So right after that. Yep. Because they try to get in line, and he's like, "No, the line starts back there, kid," or whatever. That guy, that's John Shepard. That's Gene Shepard. Is it? Yeah, that's Shepard and his wife. So, I couldn't agree more about the assessment of the scary Santa stuff and all of that. I got to be honest, though, the spectacle and size of all this is really magnificent for its time. I don't really remember any quite that big. But I love this scene, this quick little, I don't have time for you, whatever. But of course, the callback to the witch fantasy of the teacher and that kind of thing. So
I like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. The goggles kid. Yeah. The goggles kid.
I like how he's so like his dad in this moment. You know, like he's his dad kind of like, you know, like not stern, but like just kind of like, get off, kid. Like he did to the neighbor. That's why I kind of brought up this. There's moments in this movie where he acts just like his father, in moments where you think he should be scared. He's just like, yeah, move on, you know?
Yeah, the parallels to him growing up in this to become more like his dad is just it's true. We did Santa pictures on Saturday with the grandkids and the little baby. So he got over to Santa, and the first photo is all the other kids posing and the baby screaming. Now, the ladies recalibrated everything, and then we got a good picture of the baby not screaming. Then the kids are not so happy because they've been there for too long now because they're not as interested. So we have a little bit of both this year, but it is very common. Actually, the very first picture of my son Jake, I mean, he is screaming. He is like turned like the beet red screaming. Like you need to rescue your kid. You're trying to get them to hurry up and get the picture because you're like, you can't leave your kid stressed like this. So that is very common. So.
But it's a great picture. You know, you got to get
the best
picture. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, Soul Assassin says, it's happening when you're at the mall. You just randomly will hear the kids screaming out for sure. So, AJ's here. Hey, brother. And again, the thing is, you know, he's going to go to the magical, mythical entity Santa, right? And Loki, he's going to have his pitch, and he's thinking that this is going to be his out because Santa will be like overriding his parents, overriding his teacher, and it just blows up in his face. And I think that is such a great metaphor for our lives as children.
A football. You want a football, kid? And he's like, okay.
No, wait,
Get him off my lap. And he's like, no, I blew it. I want a Red Ryder. And then Santa's like, yeah, kid, boot.
Oh, well, you actually just sounded exactly like the Santa. Your
Yeah.
voice almost has that same
Little
tone.
bit.
You
Yeah,
shut
that
your
was
eye
impressive.
out, kid.
Ho, ho,
Ho,
ho. You just
ho.
And
no.
the boot
Yeah.
to the face.
Yep. Yep. Oh man.
I think the Randy kid like didn't have to act. I think he hated the slide. He didn't
imagine.
care for this sequence. He like they tried to like kind of get him to calm down a little bit, but then they realized it would be kind of a fun little like spin on things and that kind of stuff. So yeah, this was great. This was so. I don't know. I guess I just always felt like those things, like Ralphie did. There was times where it's like, well, I know they told me that I probably can't get, because it would be like, well, Santa can't get you the Death Star because it was too expensive. Santa can't get you. It's like, and then it's like, well, I could just tell Santa anyway, and we'll see what happens. It was one of those kinds of things. So yeah, I can relate to that for sure. So.
Yeah. And back then, kids believed longer. They had a chance to believe longer. They didn't lose the magic as young. So it was believable that this kid thought, yeah, Santa could hook me up.
Yeah, it's played up well. I mean, I don't think he's radically too old. Isn't he 9? I think he's 9.
Like probably like 10 or 11, I thought. But yeah, most likely around that age. So that's perfect. But now, like every year I pray that, it goes another year. Yeah. My oldest is 9 right now. I'm a old young dad, if you know what I mean. So it's cool to see this, like the excitement.
So, Pops, I gotta ask.
Yes, let's do it.
Do they have the fuzzy slippers?
I do not have fuzzy slippers. Now, I do have other slippers. They do mock me when I wear it. So I have Empire Strikes Back Wampa slippers.
Oh, cool.
So those are my I can just slip them on. It freaks the dogs out because they want them. Like they think that I'm like bringing a toy around the house. So I have to like make sure the dogs don't try to attack my Wampa. But no, I don't have pink fuzzy nightmare slippers as well. Just the actual costume.
You want to wear that? You enjoy wearing that? Do you want to wear that? All right, go take it off.
That's the best part. Oh, Ralphie, come on. No, take it off. It looks like a pink nightmare. What I like is that I don't have the outfit, but I do have a picture of myself. Like it's probably about 3.5 foot tall, whatever his height was, with my face in the pink bunny, because I went and saw this the play in Boston, Christmas Story, a few years back. I got to say, if you have a chance, if it's ever still running, go see it. It was actually a really good. I didn't think it was going to be a good play, and I enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There's Pops.
Yeah, we're doing it.
There he is. I mean, it's like we're looking at family pictures, and you just kind of still, dressed the same way.
Yeah. I guess it wasn't a phase. He didn't outgrow it.
Why would you put a boy through that? His mom.
Well, because the lines, right?
It
She
all
thinks
up.
he's perpetually 8-year-old girl. Isn't that the dialogue? Something like that. She perpetually thinks I'm a 8-year-old and I'm a girl. And I'm looking at myself. I had an Aunt Pat who was very disconnected. It was my grandmother's sister. And I always thought, as I got older, because it didn't stay quite this crazy, but as I got older, I thought, I wonder if she's doing this to just be mean to me. Like she would do things, and you're like, I think she's just mean. I don't think she would. And she would say like really strange. Like I remember I was really little, and she had these Avon chess sets, and they were like these giant bottles, and there's one for each, like a chessboard, right? Mm-hmm. And I always thought these were freaking cool. I'd set them up like I was playing chess. Where she made a comment about, I'll will them to you then, kid, or something like that. Very sarcastic, right? And I didn't know what that meant. So I'm going to ask my kid, well, that means that when she dies, you can have them. I'm like, she's going to die? I was so traumatized because I was like, I don't know, it's probably like 5 or something, right? It's just like this, she was just like that kind of crazy aunt. Like she would do these things. And so whenever I see this and I hear this story about the aunt, that's what I think of. I think of Aunt Pat. So
that's cool. There's somebody in this movie for everybody. Some like the dad reminds me of my dad. There's people that might also relate to the aunt or the mom or the brother. Like that's what I think has, affected so many people. Like so many years later, no matter what generation they're in, because you can find someone that, okay, I can relate to that. And that's like the best part. That's what we love about movies, where it actually, like, you can envision yourself either in it or you can relate to it. That's why this movie's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. In fact, I was surprised to find out D. Bud Martin was in it with his Zeppelin.
The Christmas tree man.
So the metal, my one of the kids pointed out that we kind of have this red fire truck for the grandkids. It kind of looks like that one that's in that background, by the way. I don't know. Yeah.
In my grandparents' house, there was one of those Zeppelins, and I love how he calls it a Zeppelin. You know, not like a, you know, like the Goodyear blimp. It's a Zeppelin. You know, so, but they had something like they had the old like metal toys, which. You know, I wish. Oh man, those were amazing. Some of those.
Yeah, the grandkids don't play with that metal fire truck because it's almost like a death trap. Because like it's because it is metal, they can easily cut their hands. I love the Frankenstein mask. Doesn't get brought up a lot because it's like it just seems such an odd thing for kids. When we were kids, if you were actually have gotten one of these rubber masks, you were like a rock star, man. Those masks were so cool. Yeah. So cool. Extremely rare and expensive, to be honest.
I'd never noticed it before.
Oh yeah. There's tons of stuff in this room. It's just a sea of chaos on the floor, and you literally. I remember this. I mean, my sister was really young, so I would say we were probably at 6 to 7, but it would have been before Star Wars. It was like the opening till you fall down. Like there were so many presents, there was so much stuff. It was just, that's crazy.
Is that Monopoly? Next to the head.
Behind the head. Yeah, that's one of the Monopolies.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wait, let me. Oh, it doesn't zoom in too much.
Yeah, it is Monopoly.
It's Monopoly for sure. Yeah.
See, you'll learn new things.
Yeah. Oh, I love the screen cap website. It's kind of fun for that reason. You can find stuff that because sometimes it's hard to even pause because you just can't get to line up on the right frame. So
it's called Screen Cap.
Yeah, I think so. IRONCASTER can give you the link in the private chat or something.
Oh,
if you
cool.
want.
Thank you.
I've got a few sites I want to turn to, so I'll drop links for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. That was a common thing back then. So.
Yep. Ooh, that's mine.
Yeah, the 40s effects of the Great Depression. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, jump ahead a little bit. Can you get the bowling ball? Because the bowling ball scenes always makes me laugh too. Look, your dad surely had a bowling ball moment in his life at some point, right?
Oh yeah, a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what I wanted was a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I remember that with my grandfather. They got him a bowling ball, and I remember even as a kid, I was thinking to myself, I didn't even know he could bowl. Like, I mean, it didn't occur to me that that would be a thing, but it wasn't something we as a family had done. So him getting a bowling ball, I thought was just always weird. And yeah.
I love, some people have like pointed out, like, she's so much younger than him. Like, you know, people that try to ruin it, you know, like social media. And if you look at it, like, yeah, there is an age difference, but he was born in like 22 and she was born in like the late 30s. So it's not as big. People thought it was this huge difference because he looks old, you know, but it's, you know, less than 20 years, I'll say. That's pretty good for Hollywood.
Yeah, I didn't think it was really that much of a difference. He was born born in 22, and she's born in 30. So it's 17. So
yeah, I mean, for Hollywood, that's not a big difference, you know. But
right.
It's just there are people today that pointed out, you know.
No one ever noticed that back in the day. No one ever said anything about that back in the day. No one cared.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't really have a scene to jump to here, but I would definitely want to say that if you've never watched this with like the subtitles on to catch some of the dialogue and some of the long monologues and back and forth with dialogue, and again, the narration is what makes this movie amazing. So this movie is actually kind of a very unique film because there weren't really movies like this. Most people passed on making this movie for this reason, because it was like it's told from a narrator's point of view where it's both like forward and backwards and in the moment. Like the narrator is all over the map with his telling of this story. So it seemed very unorthodox. And then when you add in the kids, the visions and sort of imagination type stuff, this was a very hard one for Hollywood to get their head around. So this is another reason why this film was a low budget kind of film, microfilm, because of that. So
it is, his narration though it was like so like soothing of a voice, but it had so much charisma at times. Like when he's all excited, he remembers how he was excited as a kid. His voice by far is one of the best. Like you have Stand By Me and you have this,
that's true.
Really. And Stand By Me was, what's his name? Okay.
Dreyfus?
Yeah, Dreyfus. You know, that was a big name. This was, Shepard, who was well known, but not known for,
He was known very locally because of all
Yeah.
that radio work and stuff like that. Like, and that again, that's how the script got bought. Like, the guy heard it and like, oh man, this is incredible. We got to figure this out. So,
right.
oh man, Dean's going old school. The pedal John Deere tractor. Oh man, that is OG.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
a good
love
one.
it.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I had a friend who had one of those. We'd ride that thing. It was great. So,
Yep.
yeah, Grandma's 14 younger than Pop. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think my mother-in-law and
say hi to my
father-in-law
kids
are
real quick.
12
I'll be
or
right back.
13. So yeah, it's pretty common. It's pretty common.
Yeah, you just look down here. Look right here.
happened?
Oh, well, me and Eris.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know what you meant. I thought you said look down here like you were going to show something. I was like,
Oh no,
yeah,
no.
you
I was
and
like,
Eric.
yeah, look down here,
Yeah.
me and Eris. I mean, there's a 14 and a half year gap. So it's not
Good
that
looking out.
uncommon.
Man, look at the old man just beaming. It's so good.
I think this moment right here is probably my favorite in the entire movie. This is like the moment that works for me. To see that moment where it's Ralphie's getting the present, getting the BB gun, and then you're getting to see the old man's reaction as he's just like he's so in the moment, enjoying it, seeing Ralphie get the thing he's been so subtly hinting at for weeks.
And it's not just that though. It's the fact that you got to listen to what he tells her, because it's when he turns to her and he said, "I had one at that age," and it's like he's going back and he's like, "I want," he's living through Ralphie. He's getting to live a little bit through Ralphie, seeing him open the gun, and remembering his own time when he opened one.
I remember Ralphie never asked the dad for the gun.
Oh,
So in the movie, he only asked the mom. He only asked the teacher. It's like he never directly asked the dad. So there is sort of like, did he ever ask the dad, or did dad just cleverly figure all that? Because that leads into what they do well with, I think, that Christmas Story Christmas is, dad is really a puppet master of making these Christmases so special and stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
And I love that you brought that out, because not many people realize that the dad wasn't. The dad just listened. He paid attention, and then he realized that's what his son wanted, which was really cool.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, like who's the one who's up late the night before assembling the presents?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dad. I mean, if it's a bike.
Well, yeah, you had to put the bike together, and your wife was wrapping presents. I mean, that was so.
But like the part with Santa Claus, it kind of goes into this. He was like, "Well, did you tell him you were a good kid?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Well, he knows. Like he already planned on buying this for him.
He always knows."
Yes, right. So it was this moment. Like my dad passed when I was 23, and this moment sometimes hits me. Like I'll be like watching the movie all giggly, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, where did that come from?" It's a really powerful moment where a dad who doesn't connect with his kids as much maybe as dads today, but there's those moments where it's something special that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I agree with that. Growing up with the 5 kids and trying to pull Christmas off, and then trying to find ways to make it feel magical in some way, shape, or form, whether it be the type of gifts or where the gifts were, or getting to believe. I mean, I don't know if I've ever shared this. So one of our favorite how to bait and trick the kids, so to speak. We had friends visiting, and we were all going to go somewhere, I believe, to look at Christmas lights or something. So we were loading all of the kids up to the van, and in the process of all that loading, because when you have 5 kids, my wife and I both ran back in the house and put everything out, and Santa had come while we were gone. And everything was there. They had a special letter that was greeting them, explaining the time frame or whatever. That they were on the front end of the Christmas Eve route this year. I don't know. It was very detailed and thought out. Of this was what the plan was going to be, and it was like for them. Yeah. So yeah, I can feel Dad this moment for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. I bought my nephew some real old airsoft guns from Japan. These things used AC coolant for propellant. I guess they were thousands now. Wow. I could not change it for watching him play. Yeah, I know. It's incredible, right? If the dad's in the 70s dad, it would have given Ralph lawn darts in the car kid where you could smell your own metal and knock back a Hot Wheel. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Lawn darts. Oh, I love lawn darts. I actually have almost bought lawn darts because you can find them. But no, I'm always told no. No. Okay, so this is where I think people miss a little bit of a mark with Christmas Story too. Why I think this resonates with people is they feel like he gets the gun, and that's sort of like the end of the conflict. And I'm like, see, no, because then you don't understand that mom and dad have to have arcs as well. So dad's arc is not done yet because he is also trying to get the turkey. And if you are not old enough to be this kind of dad yet, we're just not there yet with you, man. I want to tell you, this is something to look forward to. When you get to, you're the one sneaking bites and sneaking. Oh, it is the best role ever. It's the best role ever. So,
in watching this, I'm reminded from a couple of years ago, we were up the day before Thanksgiving or so, and we're doing all the food prep out of the way. And, because up here in the Midwest, you're using the outdoors as the extra fridge. You're anything out that you can put things in the car, etc. Well, we set one of the birds out on the porch, and a couple drinks go by, and we sort of forget about the bird out there.
Uh-oh, Bumpus dogs.
We kind of come to the next day. We realize, wait, apparently raccoons got to it in the night.
Oh, in the night. Oh, you left it out there for a long time then. Okay, wow. Yeah. That would have been... if you left it out that kind of long, you were definitely not getting it back. So, I would not be shocked by that. But I don't know that we ever...
The only saving grace we had is that we happen to have a second turkey.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Scott, you ever lost a turkey?
Not a turkey, no. Well, wait a minute. Did we lose? We lost one to the ground once. One of my
just lost one. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was one of those I was probably in my 20s, and it was like a Thanksgiving. It was more Thanksgiving for friends because everybody else went home, and we were in Pittsburgh, and so it was a weird group of people. And the second year we did it, the first year it was an amazing turkey, so everybody was like, "You got to go to his place," and I may had one too many drinks because I still drank back then. And I think I flipped it by accident, and it literally just went everywhere.
And it explodes. Yeah, they explode because you've hollowed them out full of stuffing, so there's no density to them to survive a fall like that. They literally see what happens in Christmas Vacation where they just kind of go like this.
That's funny. That never happened. But
when you said you lost it to the ground, my mind went to the ground swallowed it up. What? It's gone.
Tremors, the Christmas tale.
Tremors, the Christmas story.
A very Tremors Thanksgiving.
Christmas tamales. I don't even know what's happening with Soul Assassin with Christmas tamales. So.
That sounds delicious. It's more was a great we call it gravy, but tomato sauce, like a marinara sauce for people. That was the thing. You would. Try to get a piece of bread in there, and my mother would come with the wooden spoon. So this reminds me more of that than a turkey.
I tell you what. So again, being the nerd that I am, I've heard the boy. I refer to the boys, meaning all the child actors, talking about this sequence, and the dogs was supposed to just come in and grab the turkey and leave. That is not what the dogs did. So everything you see was the dogs acting out. Fortunately, the camera was rolling. Fortunately, the film developed properly because there is a sequence, I think, with the tongue on the post. I think they filmed that, and then the film didn't develop properly. They had to reshoot it. But this was the dogs just being dogs. One got a piece, one started a fight, one jumped on the table, knocked this over, just become chaos. So all of that was very organic, and I think this is the lightning in the bottle, right? This is why films like this just don't land very often. It's like every so many per generation, per decade, and this is one of those films that... is it sort of a little over commercialized? I think it's because so many people relate to it. So many people are clinging to tradition and all of that. And then we get to this, and everyone has to have a story of where you've had, maybe it was Thanksgiving, but you've had to have that. Well, we're going to have to go somewhere to have some sort of meal. Right. So let's do that. Loki, what's been one of those? Well, this turned sideways. We're now going to go to blank for holiday meal.
buffet, and it wasn't that it turned sideways. It's because that's where I had to go.
Okay.
So it was Branson, and it was the Branson buffet. I think it was just called Branson Buffet in Missouri, and it's the one right up on the main strip. And I went there. I had breakfast, and I had Thanksgiving, and that's what you had. So
Okay.
they had a double meal for you. You could hang out there all day, do whatever, and I hung out until I was full, and that was it. So,
What about you, Ironcaster? You had a went somewhere else, kind of disaster relief, or just a different kind of just a unorthodox year for dinner?
Not really. Just that was just kind of the one little one-off story of mine.
Okay. What about you, Scott?
We did do a Christmas Eve once, again, not living, because I grew up in New England, so I think I was out in Pittsburgh this time still. It was a Christmas Eve. We were planning on going to a buddy's mom's house, but there was like a winter storm and power was out, so we just ended up walking to a Chinese restaurant because I literally said, well, we're going Christmas Story then. We're doing a Christmas Story. And we went to a Chinese restaurant and had a fun time. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Before we get to this scene, yeah, I definitely have done that. I may do that this year because we actually are not visiting with the whole family until the day after Christmas, the 26th. So I don't know what happens Christmas season, Christmas Day at my actual house proper. One year we did do a Denny's for that reason. Our family get together was going to be set for a certain date and time, so all the turkeys and whatever was allocated for that event. So I think we did Denny's because they have like a full schmeal that you could do. In college, though, same kind of thing with scheduling. And I did do I think I just did Chinese drive-through. We didn't have like at where I was in college, they didn't have like a sit-down Chinese restaurant like this. Now, on this scene, just so you know, when you watch this scene, just know they rehearsed it all the way up to where the duck goes to the table.
Right.
The reaction of all of that, with her seeing the duck and what happens, that is all her first reactions. This was not, Melinda Dillon did not know this was going to happen.
Yep. Brilliant.
It's fantastic. I love that
Does
story.
anybody remember a Chinese like when I was a kid? We used to have a place called Wong's. It was a really nice sit down Chinese restaurant before it was all about just takeout. And this again was something my dad would take. Like that was a special thing to go to Wong's, and this kind of brings back those memories watching this. I don't think they ever sang, but it's just another thing they show you, which we don't have really much of anymore, is sit down like real good Chinese food,
and not like this where they would cook a whole duck. 'Cause I remember I went to one with it was like a friend that took us. I didn't go with the family, but I was in high school, and it was something like that. I wanted to say it was like Chang's or something. I know that sounds again very very cliche to throw that around, but I think because I think I had a little bit of all sorts of different things. I never had this kind of food, right? So it was like I had some sort of goose, but I remember the reason I definitely remember is we had octopus. They had octopus, and it's the first time I had ever had anything like that. I had never, we never had anything like that. I never even had, like the takeout kind of stuff, really. So yeah.
Pops, I know you'll know this in Sporking. I don't know about you too much, Ironcaster, but I know that when I was a kid, there wasn't shit open.
No.
There was no Branson Grand Country Buffet that was open. There wasn't any pizza places that were open. There wasn't anything that was open. Nothing was open. So this was the only choice you had, was a Chinese restaurant that didn't know why everybody was making a big deal out of Christmas.
Yeah.
This is it.
That, man. It was it. There was no other restaurant, no other
this would be the only one that was open. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now you got all kinds of stuff that's open. So
we still have a pretty good closure rate, I think, in our area. I think they went through the phase a couple years ago where places would stay open. You even had like the regular stores would stay open for shopping, things like that. So I think that stuff's finally come to an end now. Most places do close on Christmas Day and early on Christmas Eve. But where I am now, kind of being remotely, like I would think that the Chinese restaurant may be the only place that could be open other than like a convenience store or something like that. Denny's had advertised a Christmas meal that year. We did do that. I don't know if that's a regular thing or not, for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad there was like a push a few years back. This was pre-2020 that they started pushing like all these companies open on Christmas Day. And I think finally we pushed back, and like Target and a couple others decided like Thanksgiving, Christmas. How about you give your employees the day off and they
Yeah.
can spend it with families? Because that's part of our core American tradition. It's not about religion. It's about getting together at those 2 times a year and enjoying a meal with people and maybe gift giving, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And Dean's pointed out just one of the greatest Christmas was having it in Desert Shield. So yeah, that's great. So
Wow.
all right, last shot. Yeah, Christmas octopus. Yes, badass. It's true. Get to just a quick shot of the snow because I think what happens right before that again is that it completes the story arc for the wife. They've reconciled through the Christmas dinner. Because I mean, let me tell you what: if things go sideways, and as a husband, you can reconcile things and you can make lemonade. As the dad did, the old man did,
Yep.
then she's going to come around and whatever issues were there with the lamp, whatever issue, it's all bygones be gone. When she cuddles with him on his little lap and they had their little wine, they pulled off Christmas and they see the lights and all that, and then it starts to snow. It couldn't be any better. Like this is the ending for everything. This is the way it needed and should wrap. It's just great. It's just
It's
great.
that big breath. They finally get to take that big breath with just the two of them because it's over. All the weeks of preparation, all the kids running around going crazy, all the I want this for Christmases, and they pulled it off. They did it. They went out and ate. They didn't get dinner, but they went out and ate, and and they get a chance to sit and enjoy for a minute. And it's beautiful that they get to show that. It's beautiful that they show that. And the kids are up in bed asleep, and they got it. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that's been Mrs. Pops and I. It's you know, everybody thinks it's about like a romance or something like that, but it's not. There's a certain coming together you have where you're just like just ready to hold each other, just hug each other. Like we got through this together, and it appears that they're relatively happy, and we survived. And can you think about just you really have this emotional. I don't know, Scott. How do we describe that feeling?
I agree. It's an exhale, and it's also a moment where this moment is just about us. You know, like we did it, we accomplished this. You did a great job. Thank you. I did a great job. But it's that moment of like, let us take in this tree, and you know the snow coming down, just me and you. I kind of get that too. It's about the exhale, but it's also about like, this is our moment. We're back to just me and you kind of thing, which I really enjoy about that.
And all the past is the past, and the issues that don't matter, and the bumpus dogs don't matter, and the furnace didn't matter, and just everything about it. I know
that crazy tree now looks gorgeous. You know?
The tree that would fall, the tree that was bent. I mean, I've been there, lost a tree. You know, trees. Yeah. Mrs. Pops loves to tell the story. One of our first trees, I attached to the top of the car. It slid off the side of the car, but I was so close, I thought I could make it, and it burned off like a section of the tree. That was the back of the tree. Like there's a whole section of the tree gone by the time I got it home. I thought I could get that far because it didn't seem far, but I was like, in my early 20s that I was like, yeah, you can make it.
I'll make it.
Yeah.
No.
That's great.
Denny's Grand Slam breakfast, good at any time of the day. Not a joke. Jewish people eat the Chinese restaurant on Christmas Day. It's kind of a big deal. I can see it.
I have a couple of Jewish friends that's their thing on Christmas.
Yeah.
They always go out to Chinese restaurants. That's funny.
CFG's in the house. Hey, brother, across the pond. Yeah. Duck's pretty cherry. Yes.
The other little kind of Christmas dinner that always comes to mind is apparently how in Japan it's KFC. That is the thing to do. Like in Japan, they actually have to like go and apparently like order their bucket in advance. Yes, you have to like do it or you're not getting one.
Interesting. I'll have to ask the boys.
Like the old school, one.
I'll have to ask the boys on Thursday because Thursday I'm doing a live stream with the Japanese crowd. So if you're not familiar with Ginger Ninja, Gray at Wakazashi's Tea House, and Angry Canadian, I'll be on with them because James was at TokyoCon. So we'll do it's a 6 a.m. Eastern stream. I will be live in Japan, believe it or not, on Thursday morning. So it'll be Thursday night over there.
Good group of guys.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Christmas story. Caster, we got it. KFC. There it is, Christmas.
I can find an ad real quick.
That's amazing. I definitely will try to remember to ask the boys about that too, to pick their brain a little bit of what that's like. So it must be them 11 herbs and spices. Yes, Soul Assassin. Good reference, by the way. Is Christmas big in Japan? Like a cheap trick bag big? I don't know. Cheap trick bag.
A lot of if one.
Anybody else have an aluminum?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, what I was gonna say is Japan is funny in that way. There's certain things that they love about American culture, and I think Christmas celebration is one of them.
David Hasselhoff being the other one.
Yeah,
I don't get
huge.
that.
And in Germany too.
Europe in particular. Yeah, hence
Yeah.
the German jokes and some of his appearances in like dodgeball and stuff for sure.
But I would like you to ask the guys: is it KFC or is it still Kentucky Fried Chicken? Like the idea that they dropped that because they were worried about whatever Kentucky might make people think of. I don't know. I still call it.
No, I think it's because the word fried was in the name.
Really?
Yes, because you think back about 10 years ago or so, there's really pushing it away from a lot of the fats. So the idea of it being fried chicken.
They sold out.
I just thought they were trying to rebrand away from the Colonel. So I
thought that too.
People just call it KFC already, so they just leaned into it.
I'm sorry, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it always will be. Thank you, Colonel.
One of the best metal bars he'd been to was in Okinawa. Dean Krantz has so many stories. I don't know, we should all just figure out how to get Dean on just to document stories,
Right?
Dean.
I want to hear what Dean has to talk about.
Yeah, Dean. What's the official Red Ryder carbine action 200 shot range model air rifle? Yes.
With a compass in the stock.
The compass in the stock.
Can't forget that.
All right, Loki, how many times a year? Is this like a one-time dip in? Do you throw this a couple times, or you already did it already?
I don't have cable anymore. I've been a cord cutter for like 13 years now, so I don't have cable, so I don't get the whole like 24-hour marathon. Now, if I'm at families, they're watching it. Well, then I might catch it twice a year. But the days of 24 hours of Ralphie came to an end 13 years ago when I cut the cord. So it's a once, maybe twice a year thing. I watched it. I watched it today. I probably won't watch it again. I might. I don't know, but we'll see.
I just 4K'd up on all these, so I have to be honest. The 4K deal was too hard to not just make an upgrade on all these discs because I didn't have 4K versions of them all, and my daughter got all of the where we left off. So Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story, Elf, just they were all super cheap this year. I'm like, oh, we'll make the upgrade.
Worth it in 4K?
Well, you know what? You get just a nice consolidation of all of those special features and stuff. And the transfer's nice. The transfer is pretty. I mean, I don't think the transfer was. I mean, even if on we have an upscaling player for the Blu-ray disc, and it's like, it looks nice enough. It's not like these are filmed, but it's it's fine. But I mean, literally for like $10, it's like having new discs and new upgrade on everything. It's all the consolidation of this. Yeah, it was $10 for like each. I mean, it's that's good. So anyway, all right. Ironcaster, what about your last thoughts? Any other last thoughts here?
It's a Christmas classic for a reason, ultimately. This is just, it's so ubiquitous with the holiday that you can't help but watch it and think back to, those childhood days of, maybe it wasn't necessarily the BB gun, but, maybe you really, really wanted that Nintendo 64 and getting to open that as the big present on that day. Like, I still remember those days. And it feels just as magical to me.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah. How about you, Scott? Last thoughts?
Yeah. First, Ironcaster, you have a great voice for like this in radio. I just have to thank you. That. Yeah. And thank you for having me too, Pops. And Loki, you're sexy. No, what I wanted to say was.
Oh my!
Yeah, I had to say it, man.
Oh no,
ladies.
Ladies.
I love this movie. I think it's a classic. You don't have to, it's from the early 80s. I mean, the director of Porky's made this, which always blows my mind. But what I find is that's fantastic about this movie. It doesn't matter what race, what color, what gender, like people love this is one of those movies that people don't attack, which I love about it. Like everyone accepts that this is just a great movie for Christmas time and for anybody. And I did have one of those years where I just wanted, I don't know if you guys remember the cartoon Mask. It was like these guys who had like a truck and then it would turn into like a submarine and they would put these masks on. It only was around for like a year or two. But I wanted Boulder Mountain I believe that's what it was called, their headquarters, so bad. And I didn't get it. And one of the last gift was my uncle came in with a box, and it was that. And it was one of those moments where it just, you never forget. Like,
Right.
It was magical. And I hope people have that this year. I hope it's magical for you all.
We do. We hope you. We hope. And part of what we like to do around here, though, is make it magical for you. So, Scott, do you have a pen and paper? I think I asked in the private chat. Do you have something to write on real quick?
Yeah.
What do you think, Ironcaster? What's our number range today? Get ready in chat. What do you think?
I like 32.
1 through 32, Scott. A number 1 through 32 in chat. And you get to play, folks, for one of Pops's free wax pack pile. That's right. Maybe you'll do the Padawannabe challenge. Maybe you won't. We don't know, but you'll let me know so I can videotape you chewing that gum, as some folks have done. Not Loki.
It tastes like 1983.
Nope.
Yeah. So, Tron, I have some Black Hole left. Both kinds of Gremlins.
Cool.
Both of the Batman 89s and in Indiana Jones, what I think is Temple of Doom. So, but yeah, winner will get one of those and be in the drawing for the big end of the year drawing for the Batman box set of stuff, all the big Batman stuff. Because yes, I'm a comic book nerd first and foremost, so that will be there. So yes, get that closest without going over the 32 for the number that Scott is writing down right now. But no, guys, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. Loki, of course, Mornings of Mischief. Tomorrow's YouTube talk.
Tomorrow is YouTube talk.
Awesome. Rock on, butter. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just
Yeah,
want
it
to
should be
yes to
fun.
this.
Be interesting.
That's
This
awesome.
is
That's
correct.
awesome. Ironcaster, what's going on for you, my friend?
About an hour or so, I should be on with a T-shirt for our little midweek in geek, where I get to explain to them the happenings involving everything that went on this past week in comics.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's great. It's been a crazy week for comics. Holy cow. I cannot believe that actually right before this stream, Cancel Pigs was trending. I was blown away. Like, wow, that is... Listen, Cancel Pig was a really cool... I don't know who got it first. Did EVS get that first? Did someone else? Is it because Miller used it? Or is it because... Okay, so
Yeah,
it's because Miller used it. So Miller used the term Cancel Pig. Of course, leave it to Mark Miller to make another big moment. So come on, folks, get those numbers in. I know more of you need to get into that drawing, get a chance to win. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, it's great. So Scott, you're doing tonight is aluminum
7:30.
sport.
I feel bad to announce it because you're doing stuff too, but it's aluminum.
We're all
sport.
doing things. It's just
Yeah,
how,
that's
folks.
true.
You should be subscribed to everyone. You just search through. I'm a 1.5 to 2 speed guy. You don't have to be, but that's how I try to watch so much of the content for you folks.
I
But
respect that. I respect that. Yeah, I do aluminum spork on Tuesday nights. We talk about, like tonight we're talking David Grush and the Schumer rounds addendum, the bill they were trying to pass to get more disclosure with UAPs and UFOs. We'll also talk about a couple other things that are going on in the world of conspiracies, ancient, history, lost civilizations. It's all about that type of stuff.
Cool.
On Tuesday nights over on Aluminum Spork at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
Out of curiosity, with that in mind, did you happen to hear about the Stonehenge they found in Lake Michigan?
Yes. Yeah. They underwater.
Yes.
Yeah. They found that quite a few years ago. There's some very interesting stuff they're starting to find, which I'm shocked in northern hemisphere of America because of the ice sheet being over there, and a lot of people thinking that when they melted, they took out a lot of the ancient monoliths. So it is cool when they can find anything.
Very cool. Loki, you'll be on with VacTube, I believe. You guys are doing another episode with that tonight?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay.
Not
See,
tonight.
now you're freed up to watch one of the three of us doing something else. I'll be on with Nerdporio, like I said before. I'll be on Nerdporio doing Charlie Brown Christmas. And Padass, where'd he go? The freaking, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, they do kill off Moon Knight, issue number 30. I don't know if I have a video or not. The most disgusting part of all that is there are literally like 12 variant covers. Like, it's just such a gimmick and a bad gimmick. They're going to hand it off to another girl. She's a black. She was the assistant. She was such a good character because she was nice comic relief. Anyway, so yeah, that's what they're
We're
talking
about variant, like character.
There's like a main comic book cover, and there's 12 variant covers.
Right. Because I
For
remember
an issue
Spider-Man
30.
had one like that, and it drove me nuts.
For an issue 30. So this is like the new gimmick in the comic book world. Is they do these sales numbers are so low, it's only boosted by these incentives and multiple color covers and things like that. So, and it's such a trap because many times these covers are truly spectacular. If you're a cover collector, I've told people, said, I know it's an expensive thing to do. Just wait till they're out there and get one like that so it's graded. And then you at least have something that might hold a little bit of value. Because I can't promise that it's going to make any value because the market is saturated in the modern market. But at least a graded copy, and you don't care to read it because you just want it for the cover, at least you can pick your cover that way. So anyway. All right, Scott. All right, we got our numbers in. We got all sorts of numbers here, 23, 29, 17, 14, 13, 15. They are all on top of each other. Let's see what happens.
So it's closest to who didn't
Closest to without going over. The number is
21.
21. So 21. Oh no, Connie was a little bit over. Doing was a little bit over. Pat S. It looks like Pat S is the winner. Congratulations, Pat. All right, my friend.
Congrats, brother.
Yeah, man. Pat, you'll have to let me know which pack you want. We will definitely get that back out to you, my friend. So, gentlemen, man, I tell you what, we cannot do this movie justice. We could talk for another several hours. We could go scene by scenes, and we could talk about
like just the filming of it, which is crazy. So
the production value.
We didn't even get into all the little flashbacks and dream sequences, Ralphie. Yeah,
so brilliant.
We didn't talk about like IRONCASTER, the set design, the costuming, all the elements of the things that we just love and cherish on this show. This film is so rich with all of that. I say all this knowing that people do sometimes get angry that we don't get into those levels of depth, but this film is way bigger than even some of our favorites. This film has multiple layers, and again, that's I think another reason why the 24-hour watch thing and things like that. But gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this.
We'll do it again next year. Go deeper. Maybe
we'll see. We'll do it on your channel. Maybe we'll do it next year on your channel.
I'm fine with that.
I just got a Pops package. Yeah, Pat. I owed Pat a package from like before, like, and just got around to getting caught up on my shipping. So yeah, back into the mail it goes, Pat. Yeah, maybe Pat, you'll win the big box. Who knows? So yeah,
sorry, Zach,
folks.
I should have rigged it.
Zach needs to pick his comic book. He won a comic book last week, so I got to do that drawing as well. So if you haven't gone over any of the comic book content from the previous week, leave your comments in there. You go into the drawing for those graphic novels, pick from that stack, get rid of some of those as well. I just want to get good stuff in the hands of everybody. Like I know that's, again, it's kind of like we talked before we started, Scott, about like talking about good things. I also want to like put good things in people's hands.
Amen.
Like, you know what I mean? Like trading cards are kind of become a scam. They've also been like mass produced. I just listened to a sports card guy talking about the overproduction of parallel cards. And like, I'm talking about like a little bit, like a single player may now have like 8,000 cards with one single image. Like it's just because there's so many parallels upon parallels and companies. So like, I'm down to like one box of like basketball, one box of baseball, but then I have a big box of football cards still, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with them because it gets to the point now where I don't want to say it's worthless, but it's like, what kind of collector am I looking for? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got to find the right kind of collector because most people are just chasing these random things.
Yeah.
And this stuff, this is an afterthought again.
Right.
Until it comes around and they want it, it'll all be gone again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because these went crazy for a while.
Oh yeah,
these are really hot. I love these, man. These are nice cards right there. And the Christopher Lee, people finally caught on to the Christopher Lee cards that are in these. The cards themselves don't necessarily like sell or anything like that, but the Christopher Lee cards. So I was like, oh yeah, Christopher Lee. So, well, with that, folks, everybody have a great week. Thanks, Scott, again for being with us. You guys out there, you guys be blessed. Take care, everybody. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Oh no!
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.